Hello everybody, this is Oak Tree Tarot Reader here and welcome to my pick a card video. Today's question is, why are my relationships failing? Why are my relationships going wrong? Okay, now this is assuming that you're currently single, but if you are in a relationship and you're thinking, why is my current relationship going wrong? This could also apply. Just transfer what I'm saying to your current relationship. Otherwise, it really is aimed at people that are have had a few relationships that haven't worked out and you can't understand why it's not working out. Okay, now I want you to remember that this is a general reading and it's aimed at a lot of people. So not all of the reading is going to apply to you specifically. It's more likely that there's just a couple of cards that directly connect to you, and most of the others just sort of hint at your life situation. So look at it as a general guide of what you should be thinking about in terms of your relationships and what's happening in them and why they could be going wrong. Okay, if you do want a private reading that we can look at your situation specifically, then please email me on oaktreetarotreader@gmail.com. That email address is in the description box, and I will also put the timestamps of each reading in the description box so you can just scoot ahead. Okay, so just take it generally with a pinch of salt. It's not going to tell you absolutely everything. It's going to just give you a guide as to why things are going wrong at the moment. Now, somebody mentioned in my comments, and I forgot to say thank you very much for everybody that's liked, commented on my videos and even subscribed to my channel. It's great. But one lady said about using crystals to put on each set. Well, I don't have any, I'm afraid. So I've just rustled up 3 things that I found around the house for each reading. So if you don't feel drawn to the cards, you rather attach to an actual physical object on the cards, these are for you. If you do feel fine just thinking about the cards in each section, follow that as well. Do whatever suits you. Okay, so I want you to think about you and your relationships, and I want you to close your eyes, take a deep breath and think about the 3 cards. We've got the red tea tree light, which is number 1. We have got the pink hair clip, which is reading number 2, and we have the white tea tree candle, which is reading number 3. So trust your first instinct and choose which set you are the most attracted to. If you need a little bit more time, then please feel free to pause it, because I am now going to be moving on to the first reading. Thank you. All right, everybody that chose option 1, the red tea tree light, put it away now. This is your reading. Now, please remember that this is just general, and that just because these cards say one thing, it doesn't necessarily mean that is exactly what's gone wrong in your relationships. This is just an insight into it. So just look at it as a bit of helpful advice that you can take or ignore. Just think about what it says and see if it resonates or makes sense to you. Okay, this it doesn't mean absolutely that you're a terrible person, that your relationships fail. It could be that you're not necessarily with the right person, or that it's not going to work with your previous partners because neither of you were in the right place at the right time. It could be that they had various things going on in their life that you already know about, and that's the root cause of why relationships have failed, or why you're frightened your current relationship is failing. Don't look at it that you are somehow at fault for your relationships failing, or even that you are not at fault at all. We all have responsibility to take for our own actions and for what's going on. So just taking that on board, I don't want anyone to feel bad about themselves at all in any of my readings. Love, compassion and understanding for each other is my motto. So what we've got with these three is a general look at your relationships. This is your past relationships or past relationship if you've only had one serious relationship or marriage, or if you're currently in a relationship, this hopefully will be your current relationship. So we've got the King of Wands. We have the Ten of Pentacles. And we have the King of Pentacles. So first off, those are all actually three pretty good cards. So that's interesting. King of Wands is a mature, passionate, driven energy. I mean, this man is sitting there content, but he's the King of Wands, and the Wands are about sex, passion, drive, entrepreneurial energy. This isn't the artists and writers and poets and musicians energy, but this is a sort of eureka moment energy. So I don't think that your previous relationships have been lacking in passion, but it's been a grown-up passion, a mature, very controlled passion. There's lots of moments of playfulness, but there's definitely been someone in charge, or that both of you have been in charge of this energy between you. So you feel that, yeah, there's been a lot of control. I think for some of you as well, it's been a very happy relationship. It's been a very family orientated one where everybody's provided for and there's lots of money to spare. I don't think that anybody's been forced to be destitute in their previous relationships if you've chosen this set. If you do feel that that's not right, that you have been wanting financially, I think that you haven't been wanting in your own abundance, that actually you laughed a lot and you had lots of fun together, you were secure in your own home, you knew you could rely on your partner or your extended family to support each other. There's also the King of Pentacles, which is the daddy card. So some of you have had in your previous relationships that you've been made parents through it. You have children now. But again, I'm really drawn to not being poor. I mean, this man looks like a satisfied merchant. He's got very nice clothes. He's got a lovely hat. He's in a garden with beautiful flowers. He's got a cow there that he can milk and make dairy products from, and when the time comes, have made into steaks and hamburgers. He has 2 money pouches attached to his belt. This man has everything. It's really the same man, you know, and he's got everything to support his family. So I do feel that a lot of people here have been in long-term marriages and perfectly satisfactory, abundant relationships in material goods. Okay, there's no cups here, so it may have been emotionally lacking. Maybe you were with that person for security, or you choose your partners based on their financial status rather than exchange of emotions and feelings. And there's no swords here, so I don't feel that you've had your relationships are seen in an intellectual light, or that you see them, you behave intellectually in your relationships. It's not so much a meeting of minds as a meeting of wallets for a lot of people on this video. There is nothing wrong with that, by the way. There's nothing wrong with looking for a financially stable relationship. It's very difficult to build a family and a life when you don't have financial stability. It's rubbish being poor. I've been poor and it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. It's so stressful. It's not about having the things that you don't need. It's when you can't even afford the things that you do need. And you've not had that. So that's good. And that's how you see relationships, as financially supportive and even emotionally supportive for a lot of you. I mean, not having a care in the world is a good thing, and I feel that you've had that. So, yeah, I'm going to say, is that the problem, that there were no challenges? That it was just too easy? For a lot of you, this relationship was too easy and there wasn't enough passion, drive, there wasn't any challenges, there was nothing to work towards, there was no aspirations because it was already achieved. You got the nice house, nice garden. Yeah, I feel for a lot of you, even so now, I can say that for a lot of you, the reason your relationship or relationships have failed is because they were too easy and you needed a challenge. So these 3 cards are what you bring to the relationships, your energies, your attitudes, your actions and motivations. So we've got 6 of Vessels, reunion, 5 of Vessels, ecstasy, and the 7 of Stones, healing. Okay, so these are your energies. So I'm immediately drawn to 6 of Vessels, reunion. So I feel that a lot of you are either in on and off again relationships and you just keep on going back to that partner, that relationship which is clearly not working. For others of you, if you are going out with different partners, now I'm going to assume it's ladies thinking of men, but if you're a lady looking for another lady, or a man looking for another man, or a man looking for a lady, it doesn't matter that it's the same, but you're repeating the same mistakes. So if you like a particular type of man, even though these relationships aren't working, maybe because you're looking for financial and material security, that it's really not the kind of person that you need, but you're repeating the same mistakes. That's a reunion. You're going back over old ground. You have choices, but you're sort of repeating it really. You're going back over old ground. But you also bring ecstasy. I think you're really happy in a relationship. I think you bring great joy. I think you're lots of fun. I think you try and make it lots of fun. I think you... I don't think anybody's upset that they've got you on their arm and that they're going out with you and they can say, this is my new partner, so-and-so, or whatever. I think you bring a lot of intense emotion, and, you know, we've got the Vessels and the Stones here. We've got the emotion that was sort of lacking in the relationship. So maybe I do feel that drawn to saying that maybe you're not picking the correct type of partner for you. And we've also got healing. So within your joy and your ecstasy and your intense emotion, I think you provide a lot of healing. I'm drawn to say that a lot of you may go out with men that are on the rebound from their previous partners, that you suddenly find that you're the girl that they go out with before they find a new girlfriend that they end up marrying, that old cliche. But I do feel that maybe there's a bit of a rebound action. For those of you that say, yes, I am in an on and off again relationship, I am going back to the same person over and over again, you just repeatedly going back in the hope that there's healing and to provide healing to. So whatever reason the relationship doesn't work this time, it's not for the same reason that the relationship failed before. And something just flickered into my head then and it's gone out. Let me think about it. Right, sorry, I had to pause it then because I really lost train of my thought and it was a good one. But what I was thinking was that for those of, you know, some of you are going and being the rebound partner, but some of you are the constant rebound partner. You're the one that jumps from one relationship to another, that every new relationship is built upon the foundations of the previously failed relationship. That this is, you know, you feel dead in the ground, you want this brand new energy, you want to be healed and you want to be abundant and full of life. And there's this sort of dead tree in the background, which is your previous relationship, and you jump in too quickly. I feel a lot of you with this combination of cards are jumping in a bit too quickly into a relationship before perhaps you're ready. You don't have any time on your own to grieve over a lost relationship and to grow up as an individual and be yourself and not have to define yourself as part of a relationship. And I think you just jump in and you're great guns for it. So what we've got here are 2 cards. This is the Tarot Sexual Magic. So if you're offended by this, skip ahead to the 2 Romance Angels. I was meant to say that earlier and I forgot. But anyway, these really are why your relationships are failing. This is a hint a bit of inspiration for you to think about as to why these relationships are failing. So we've got the Ten of Cups and the Seven of Pentacles. I think this reiterates what was said here. The Ten of Chalices is the ultimate happily ever after card. It's about ultimate emotional satisfaction and contentment. And then this card is about exhaustion. It's about being tired. They're a tired couple. They've exhausted themselves. They're waiting for their energy to come back. They still feel very close together, you know, and you feel like if they haven't worn themselves out too much, that they can recharge their batteries and get back into the game. So I feel for you that this emotional abundance tires you out, and I think this is what you need in terms of a relationship, that this isn't challenging for you. The Ten of Chalices could also refer to this financial abundance, but I feel that having all your wishes come true, the happily ever after, isn't satisfactory to you, that you need some sort of challenge. And for each of you that will be different. It could be financial, intellectual, emotional, in your career, anything. It can be anything that you're getting certain aspects of yourself satisfied, and it's making your cup runneth over. You're really happy, you're content and you're secure, but you're tired of it. It either completely exhausts you or it utterly bores you. And I think that's why, for a lot of you, this is why your relationship's failing. So now we've got the two romance angels. And we have religious factors and give your relationship a chance. So your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. I feel for a lot of you, you need to find a kindred spirit, somebody who is on the same wavelength. Now that could literally be in a religious sense or a spiritual sense, but it could also be intellectual and creative. Somebody that maybe shares the same interests as you. If your previous partners haven't really wanted to do the sort of things you do, if you're into ballet and the theatre and music concerts and whatever, and they're mad sports fanatics or obsessive workaholics, you need to find somebody that's on your wavelength that will do the same things that you do. And you need to give your relationship a chance to work on your partnership. So if you find that you're falling back into the old pattern of getting bored, that you know you've got so far and you've had so many challenges and you've worked through them and now you're in the nice comfortable phase, if you find that you repeatedly do that and once everything's going well you end the relationship because you want a new fresh exciting challenge, I do feel a lot of you repeatedly start relationships because you find the initial romance exciting and you find the family life boring. What you need to do is give your relationship a chance. You need to stop having all these repeated relationships going around and round in circles. You know, getting to the point where you're going to buy a house together, get married, maybe have a child, and do, you know, stop going out, eating out and going out on dates so much and start putting aside money to get a new bathroom fitted, you know, being a grown-up. But you need to move beyond that and work on your partnership and work on your relationship. Otherwise, you're just going to end up wasting your life in this constant role of new relationships. And eventually you'll find that you're sort of emotionally unsatisfied even by that. And what you really want is this emotional and financial stability. But either way, whatever's causing it, you have to commit to it and work on it and resolve the problems you have with your partner rather than cutting your losses and moving on, which is what I feel that you're doing at the moment for the people that chose this one. Well, I hope that's helped you. I hope that some of it's resonated and will help you. Please let me know in the comment section. I wish you all the best of luck. Take very good care of yourself and thank you very much for listening. Bye. Hello everybody that chose option 2, and that is the pink sparkly hair clip. I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video and only remembered halfway through set 1's reading, but I have used the Tarot of Sexual Magic in this set. So if you're not into that, or you're not old enough to look, then feel free to move on or skip through that little section with those cards. So I want to repeat that this is a general reading, and it's only meant to give you a hint as to what has gone wrong, and to give you a bit of food for thought as to what you can do to try and improve your chances of having a successful relationship. So these 3 cards are how you see relationships, how you feel your previous relationships have gone, and just the energy surrounding them. So we've got Knight of Pentacles, Ace of Atames, and the 8 of Wands. That's interesting. So Pentacles, Swords and Wands, no Cups. So you view relationships as really hard work. For a lot of you, that's going to be hard, slow work, a long slog that's boring and occasionally dirty work. I don't see any excitement in that card at all. So quite a lot of you view your previous relationships or relationships in general as boring. We've also got the Ace of Swords, the Ace of Atames, and that is truthful and honest. You know, first of all, it's a new idea, new truthful. So your previous relationships have really been new to you. You know, they've brought some new information, new knowledge. Some of you have found that your previous relationships have been short and sharp. You know, they've been over quickly. You know, a contrast to necessarily to a long-term relationship that's hinted here. Some of you have had short relationships and some have had long ones. Now, I feel that you are this lovely, cute little mouse here, and that you're looking up at this giant dagger. I feel that a lot of you have found relationships very confusing and scary, and that they have literally cut you. Maybe they've ended in big arguments where a few painful truths were told and that you were left feeling a bit battered and bruised. You may have been the person that was digging the knife in, saying a few nasty things about your now ex-partner. Always move at things from honesty, truth, but also kindness and dignity. You don't need to be a bitter person that won't let the past go. You know, so if you feel that's you and you know you've always been the one that sort of says mean things, let it go. Move on. Don't need to. We've also got the 8 of Wands, which again is a contrast because it, you know, that sort of massive movement, you know, great speed. But also I feel specifically for this deck that it's involved hard work and paying attention to the details. It's, you know, this girl's making and carving these wands and she's got these pretty flowers here. There's a little bird with her. I feel on some level your previous relationships have been relatively peaceful. I feel that echoes here. And that they've been creative. You had to pay attention to the details, you know, hard work, pay attention to the fine details. But I also feel that it's been a relationship that's allowed you to grow and mature and learn things about yourself and how to be in a relationship and have a partner. Yeah, so there's no real emotions here, but I feel that really you have learnt a lot from these previous relationships or relationship. And it's provided a lot of thought and a lot of learning. So these 3 cards here, that one, these are your energies in a relationship, what you bring to the relationship. It may be how you view them, but more likely how you behave in them. Okay, so Green Man, 7 of Vessels, and the 2 of Vessels. That's nice. Just make a bit of space. Yeah. Yeah, so we've got the Green Man, which in traditional tarot is the Emperor. 7 of Vessels, which is the 7 of Cups, and the 2 of Vessels, which is the 2 of Cups. So I feel you like to be in charge. Yeah, I really feel that you like to be the one making the decisions and sort of leading the way in this relationship. It doesn't mean that you are a dictator, but I do feel with this card when it comes up in relationship spreads that you're sort of, people can, you wouldn't ever say, oh, I don't, you can't do that. But the implication is everything has to be done by your consent. The Emperor in this green man is a passive authority. I mean, in this deck, he's really abundant, creative, and he's clearly making some sort of witch's brew type situation. You can make anything in this relationship. You can make or break it, I feel, because you're insistent on this control. And this is probably why you feel it's such hard work. Because you won't let go. You won't let your other partner loose and trust them to not make a mess of things. And this could be quite simply that you won't let them do housework, but deep down you're fed up of it, But, he doesn't do the washing the right way, or he doesn't load the dishwasher. But that is paralleled by the Two of Cups, which is the mutual feelings card. It's about sharing your emotions. This couple holding their, they're holding their hand together, and they're pouring their emotions into these two cups and filling them equally. So the love you feel and share with your partner is reciprocated. The love that they give to you, you return. So I don't think that your relationships have been without love. I think you are a loving partner. I think you're possibly just a bit bossy. Yeah, you want to be their equal, and you want them to be your equal. You want them to match you in your authority. You don't want to have a slave and you the master. I think you just are naturally assertive, quite a lot of you, rather than bossy, but naturally assertive, and you don't stand for any nonsense, and you're not afraid to say that and have your own authority. Now we've got an interesting card here, which is the Seven of Vessels and Mourning. So I think some of you can be quite dour and depressive in your relationships, and that's the energy you bring. That could be connected to this wanting to be in charge and regarding the relationship as hard work, a bit of a slog. That I don't feel, I feel that this is sort of a, you sometimes transmit that you feel that this is a burden. As much as your attitude is that you want love and you want companionship and an equal relationship, you really do transmit that they're tiresome and that they're letting you down and that they make you sad. Why couldn't, I asked you to do this. I asked you to get the washing in before it rained, and look at it, it's soaking wet. I'm going to have to wash it all again. It's terrible. This is awful. Or, you said you're going out with the boys this weekend, but we said we were going to the cinema. I feel that you just have high expectations, and when they're not met, I think you really transmit that quite effectively. Some of you, I feel, the mourning and this sort of skull and these various offerings of cups is that some of you stay in a relationship that this ultimately is your emotions and your feelings, and that's the relationship, and that you're pouring your authority, energies and skills and power, your power and your love into a dead relationship. You're like flogging a dead horse. And this is why it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere, and it feels quite painful and a sharp shock. That you don't want to give up on something even though it's really past its prime. And I'm going to see if I've been made right by this, because these two cards are the sexual tarot cards, and they are what is going wrong in your relationships, or a hint as to what's going wrong. So we've got the Four of Chalices, the Ten of Pentacles. And this is an interesting combination. So we've got the Four of Chalices here, Four of Cups. This couple look like they're not paying any attention to each other, but are looking at something way more interesting inside the building, that they're just standing at the gate. They're not coming in and not going out, they're blocking the way, and they're not really having a proper conversation, they're just looking over there. So I think what's going wrong is lack of communication for a lot of you. This possibly has arisen from this situation here of not your partner not feeling adequate enough, or that you maybe don't feel they're adequate enough. We've also got the Ten of Pentacles, which is traditionally like sort of the family fulfillment card. You know, you're wealthy, you've got everything you need. But I feel that this is symbolic that the relationships have failed because they have come to fruition. They've completed the cycle. I think you've learnt what you needed to learn, and so has your partner. And there's no more that you can do in this relationship. And this is why it's hard work. You've learnt what you can. Time to move on. You know, this card, this woman here, she's abundant. She's got all the fruit. She's gorgeous. She's not being touched by him, which I always find interesting. And that is a mirror. So she's sort of pleasuring herself, as per se, that she's emotionally and mentally satisfying herself through her own image. This bloke's watching her. So I do feel that the relationships have ended naturally. So I don't feel that anything was done wrong. I don't feel that your partner has necessarily done anything wrong, or that you did. I think you've just outgrown each other. I think that is why this green man's come up, is you found your own natural authority and you know what you want, and you want an equal. And your previous relationships, you have not been with an equal. Or if they were your equal then, they are not anymore. So these two are the romance oracle angels, and these are the messages of what to do and how to move towards finding love. You deserve love. You are lovable. True love. This is the romance of a lifetime. So this is absolutely that you do need to keep your standards high, that you deserve the love that you want and that will make you happy. You are lovable. Again, I don't feel that anybody here in this reading, or ever necessarily, is an evil or terrible person. And this is confirming it, that you are in a position to find the love you desire and the relationship you desire. You just need to focus on what you want and what your standards are, that you're not going to settle for anybody that's unsuitable. You're not going to say, well, I've had a few failed relationships, so you'll do. You're going to hold out for the right person, whoever they may be, and think about who you want to be with for the rest of your life. Avoid short-term relationships. Look for somebody that you can marry and settle down with and have a long-term love, because you deserve it, and so do they. I hope this has helped you. Please let me know in the comment section if it resonates. Please take very good care of yourself, and thank you very much for listening. Bye. Hello everybody who chose option 3. This is your reading. So you chose the white tea tree light. I forgot to say at the beginning of the video, but this reading features the Tarot of Sexual Magic, and I know that is not for everyone. So you can either just decide not to watch, which is fine, or when the cards come up, you can just sort of skip ahead a minute or two past that part of the reading, should you desire. Or just close your eyes even and listen to what I say. So what we have here are 3 cards that represent your previous relationships, or even your current one. It's not looking at whether they were good or bad, it's just looking at your previous relationships. So take this as a hint and a bit of a look. Oh yeah, doesn't look that look. You sort of instinctively know which ones are meant to go where. Yeah. So I feel that previously, this is maybe the way that you look at relationships, or what's happened in them. That they've involved you literally travelling away, possibly from your home. I feel a lot of people here maybe have left their hometown. It could be their physical home, that they've left their parents, their family home, to move in with this partner or previous partners. Or you've left the city that you were born in or live in, or even the country, and that you've emigrated to be with your partner, whether they live abroad or your partner has moved abroad in order to secure work and a place to live, and then you've travelled to be with them, or met them online or something, but it's involved movement. For others of you, it's required, because it's the Six of Atames, which is swords, which is intellect and words, that it's required a great deal of new thinking, that you've had to transform the way you think about things. I mean, some of you, that's a new language. But it's required great transformation on your part to mentally let something go and move towards something new. So you feel that the relationships cause you to change and learn new things, but also move. And they haven't always panned out for you. You've often felt out in the cold you haven't had enough money, you've been isolated and alone. This really would resonate if you actually physically have left all your friends and family to be with this person and you're thinking it hasn't really been worth it. There's been light off in the distance, but you're isolated from it. You know, this could represent home to you. So that's a shame. I'm sorry if that is true. I am sorry if that's the way you feel. For others of you, this relationship is something that has made you an outsider, or the relationship between you and your partner is because you're outsiders. I keep thinking of, you know, like a small town or something, and the only two goths or emos get together in a relationship because they're the only two that are interested in wearing black and sort of emo music and whatever. That your relationship is because you're both outsiders of your society or community in some way. But also that relationships have allowed you to grow and go on new journeys and to have fertility and abundance in some way, and in jollity. These people are having fun, listening to music, the Fool's there, ready to go on their journey without a fear in the world. You know, it doesn't matter what goes wrong, they're going on their journey with their dog. So I feel that overall, although there's been lots of negativity and possibly unwanted travel, or some of you have really wanted to move away and move into this new direction, intellectually, in your mind, in your life, or physically, it really, really has offered you new opportunities and a light-heartedness even for some of you. So it's not all bad. It's not all bad. I think there's a mixture of good and bad relationships here for the people that have chose this set. So what we have now are, yeah, make sure I get it the right way around. This is what you bring to the relationship, your emotions, your intentions, your thoughts. So this echoes up here, the World Tree, the World card. You bring all of yourself. I don't think you hold back. I don't think anybody can say at the end of a relationship, I never saw this side of you. I think you're honest and you're open and you're not afraid to be yourself. You're secure in yourself, and that is brilliant. Do not change that. Do not change that. There's no sides to you. There's no false mask or false face. You are utterly dedicated to your relationship. I don't think you cheat. I don't think you lie. I think you're very truthful. I think, or if there are lies, they're little white ones, or because you feel you can't say the truth. I don't think you actively opt to deceive at all. I think your energies are quite scattered. I mean, this lady here, she's shooting off the arrows and they're going off in all different directions, and she's not even looking at what she's shooting. So you could be a bit scattered in your thoughts, passions, emotions, whatever. You could just be a bit all over the place, but you've got this grounding in yourself. So people, your partners and people around you know, they expect that. They say, oh, she's a bit scatty. Now we also have the Death card. Now this looks awful and gruesome, but I think it means what you bring to relationships is change. I feel that the majority, if not all of you in this reading, ended the relationship yourself because you felt out in the cold and isolated. I don't think you've been dumped. I think you've actively finished this relationship, but you're not sure why it went wrong, and that's why you're looking at this reading or other readings like this. You want to know why it went wrong. And I feel that as well, because this is a raven pecking away at the head of a dead animal. It's literally picking at the bones, and I think you're the type to pick at the bones of a relationship until there's nothing left to be dissected out of it, until you have understood it from every possible angle. Maybe this is why the arrows are there. You've got to know. Now, if that's what you're like in a relationship, you could have possibly, because you give all of yourself, expected the same from your partner and needled away until you got it. And this is horrible for me to say, and I don't feel that it's for everybody, but for the odd one of you watching this video, this will probably resonate. But did you end up killing the relationship because of this desire to change them? Some of you wanted to change your partner, and some of you just couldn't leave it alone. For all that completion that you bring and that wholeheartedness, you wanted it in return, and you might not have got it. And that sort of destroyed you and destroyed the relationship. Some of you didn't leave alone when you should, but others of you were perfectly reasonable to expect this out of the relationship. That if you give yourself wholeheartedly and you are completely dedicated to the relationship and them, that you should expect it back. But I feel it just didn't. For a lot of you, it just didn't pan out in that way. And that could be for any reason. So this is these are the sexual tarot cards. So close your eyes or skip ahead, whatever you feel better with. These are why your relationship has gone wrong in the past. That's outside of possibly this idea that maybe you picked the bones of the relationship, or you might have just I'm just thinking now before I move on to that maybe actually you just changed your partners and made them a better person and allowed them to grow up, and they outgrew you and the relationship. And that's why you feel it's like out in the cold, because there's been all this transformation and joy, and you just allowed them to be a better person. But with that, they were then ready to move on themselves. So you might feel that actually it's not you that moves on and relationships cause change, but that you are on this bank over here and your partners are all moving away from you. So you might feel that all your partners leave you and leave you lonely, and then there's a new relationship. Yeah, I like that actually. Partners leave you, you're lonely, out in the cold, left alone, but you have hope that there'll be another relationship, and there is another relationship. Yeah, for some of you that's the case. So this is what goes wrong. 3 of Chalices and 3 of Swords. Okie dokie. Yeah. Okay then. For some of you, the reason these relationships have ended because of cheating. For some of you, it's because you have cheated. Not everybody. There's going to be, the law of statistics tells me that the odd one of you has cheated. But I feel for the majority of you, the relationship has ended because your partner has cheated. And I say that because they're both 3s, 3 in a relationship. And this one, the 3 of Swords, in that he's there playing his heart, wooing this woman who's in utter ecstasy. And there's this woman here. You could be either or. You could be the one that's found your partner cheating on you. Or you could be this lady, or even this lady, who's got her eyes closed to the truth and is just luxuriating in the emotions and closing her eyes to the truth. This woman, the man has his back to her. I mean, he's making her very happy, clearly. There's ecstasy there. But she can't see his face. She can't see, necessarily what he's up to. And this man here, she's got her eyes closed to him. Is he going to immediately just jump off and run away with this woman? Or has he been doing this and she's about to catch them? So I do feel for a lot of you, the relationship's gone wrong because of cheating on their part. And this is probably why death has come up, and you feel there's a new journey and this idea of picking the carcass clean, because you don't understand why this has happened when you feel that you've given everything and you were dedicated. So I'm sorry if that is true for you, that they did cheat and they've really upset you, because that would be so painful. Not everybody's going to have relationships ending because of cheating. It could be that there's this situation of they've outgrown you and they're just ready to move on to someone else. That the relationship failed because it exhausted itself. A lot of relationships just exhaust themselves. You just outgrow each other, that you're not lifetime partners. You're just somebody that work together on a certain level and not others. But I feel both of these cards in some way show an emotional distance, even though it's a Three of Chalices. There's just this vibe from both of them that there wasn't necessarily complete truth-telling or openness in the relationship. And that doesn't mean they cheated, but maybe they didn't say what they thought, what they felt. Maybe they like you, but it's not get married like. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you can give everything you have in a relationship, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work, but that you're unlovable or somebody that's not worthy of a relationship. It just means that they're not completely the right person for you. It doesn't mean that you should be the outsider. It just means that there's somebody better for you in the future. Yeah. I can't think of anything else with this. I just feel that the relationship's gone wrong. Oh, maybe for some of you, the relationship went wrong because there was a lack of this sort of sensual love and ecstasy, or because it was founded only on this and it was lacking lots of other things, like an intellectual connection and an emotional connection and a financial connection, that you could buy a house together and set up a family. There might have just been lacking in that connection and only having sex, or vice versa. You had all the other things, but the sex life just wasn't panning out. So what we've got here are the two romance oracles. I shall use them to cover up the sexual tarot, so feel free to open your eyes in a second. These are what you need to do in order to have a successful relationship, or what you need to consider in order to open yourself up to having a successful relationship. So we have, all right, they're covered up now. Make the effort. Great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take, and very soon. Clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. And I think this is, I think you need to define what you want in a relationship. You're clearly very committed and willing to give your all. You've got to set in your own mind what you want in a relationship. So if you're thinking, well, I want somebody that's not going to leave me, that wants to get married and spend their life with me, but also have a bit of fun and doesn't leave me out in the cold without enough money. You need to think those are my standards, that's my level, that's my line in the sand, and that's what I want. Once you know what you want and what boundaries you have, it doesn't mean about I want a man who's 6 foot tall, has dark brown hair and beautiful blue eyes. It means I want a man that's going to treat me right, that's friendly, that has at least some of the same interests that I do, and all that kind of stuff. So you must decide what you want and the terms that you want it, and have your boundaries. So if they want you to jump into a sexual relationship before you're ready, that you make it clear no. If you want a sexual relationship sooner than they are, you need to know that as well. And then when the time comes, make the effort that when you meet somebody that you really like and you feel that this is going to be a good relationship, that you don't allow the fears of your previous relationships and what went wrong with them. You don't allow a repeating pattern to happen. You don't allow yourself to be held back or to be pushed into old patterns that have caused the failure of your previous relationships, and not to be frightened to think that they're going to fail. Because if you have these clear boundaries, there's no reason why your future relationships will fail. Okay? Now, I hope that's helped you, that it's resonated in any way. Please let me know in the comments box if it's helped. I wish you all the best. Please take very good care of yourself, and thank you very much for listening. Bye!